Okay, I'm just gonna say right now that this episode probably had the best Shogi match of the entire series. Easily. And the reason why I say that is because of the sound effects and the visuals. That's what really made the scene just so much better. So, before I get into that though, let's talk about the first half, which is Hina and her problem that she has been experiencing. And surprisingly, this episode doesn't really focus a whole lot on that, because you would think since the arc has been so heavily focused on Hina and the situation she's been in, and how, she's been treated, how she's been getting bullied, and how her friend was bullied, and all of that, you would assume that this episode once again would focus on that, but that wasn't relatively the case. It focused about a quarter of the episode to half of the episode on her, which even then when it was focusing on her, it didn't really progress her overall plot in, the bullying arc that far. We just got a lot of characterization and development for Akari, her sister, but also getting to see how Rei has changed quite a bit as well. That was basically what the first half was for. And so, when you think about it, this episode wasn't as crazy or intense like the previous two episodes, but even then though, this episode had a lot of things about it that really made it truly enjoyable, and once again showcases how much these characters really have changed since the starting point of the series. So to get right into it, let's talk about what happened to Hina. So Hina, as we know, she got called into the teacher room and all that. The teacher's like, I want to talk to you after class, and we got to see the exchange of what happened. And the teacher that already was ignoring the bullying stuff in a couple episodes ago, well, this time when Hina talks with her, the teacher's like, what's going on? Why are you doing this? The teacher acting very oblivious, not really trying to tackle the problem from a very smart angle, but then eventually just the way the advice was done, she's basically acting like it wasn't her problem, like she shouldn't care or concern herself with it. I'm like, that teacher is just truly freaking disgusting. It was just a disgusting thing to see. And I really love how Studio Shaft, they emphasized the exact emotion I was feeling in that scene with the characters. When you saw how Hina, she had this red aura around her and all that, which represented anger, the emotion, anger. And then we see, Rei, how his face was, and everything around him is red as well. It was a perfect representation of what any normal person would probably feel if they were put in that situation. They wouldn't necessarily feel sadness, or they wouldn't even be depressed. They wouldn't even probably feel happy. But in that sense, when you saw that scene, everybody that was watching it that are invested in these characters, they'll probably get very upset and angry. They'll be extremely angry, why could someone be so irresponsible? And that's basically the emotions of what that scene was trying to drag out. And just that teacher, just overall, not a big fan of that teacher. That teacher is truly just scum. I can't believe someone would do that. I mean, you see it going on. You see this kid being bullied and all that. I know at the end of the day, she has to worry about her own job, and, maybe it's because of the higher-ups and how they handle things. It just might not work in the end. But even then, the way the teacher is handling it, it's just not the way to go about it. She's exactly the problem, what's going on, and very similar to how the students are. The students are acting like it's not their problem, even though it really is, and they're just not saying anything. They're just watching it. It's similar to what the teacher is doing. She's acting like it's not her problem. She shouldn't worry about it. Let's just carry on. That right there, that entire mentality, it does not work. And just the teacher really angered me in that moment. But even then, though, it was a nice scene with Akari. I like what she said to Rei. She's like, at first, I got red as well. I got angry. I had rage. And I was thinking to myself, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you heard that about someone you cared about that was happening to them and they told you that, you'd be angry. And Akari's like, yeah, I got angry. And it shows that, once again, she is out of her comfort zone. Because normally when we see Akari's character, she's always bubbly, happy, being that mother figure, cooking, whatever. She's always been this sweetheart. It's someone that always seems to be innocent and, never has any flaw or any problem going on. But when you see her talk about these things, it shows insight to her character and how she is finally starting to open up to others, or at the very least open up to Rei, and finally, ask for comfort through him, what should I do? And that entire scene with the exchange of how she's like, what should I do? Should I contact, Grandpa? Should I get the grandpa to discuss this? Can I handle the adults of these parents? Will they be like animals, rampaging animals? Do I need to call my aunt in to be able to heal, help this and heal this situation? I'm like, yo, this is interesting to see how she was thinking about it. But then Rei, he is like, I'm here too. I am here. I am here too. And that scene, it's a great way to display how much Rei has developed. Let me explain why. Let's go back to the start of Season 2, or even, think about Season 1. Rei has always been a loner. He's always been someone that was ignored by people. He was always by himself, and he didn't necessarily play Shogi because he loved to play Shogi. He played Shogi because it was the only thing that could keep him afloat in this dark, lonely world. It was the only thing he could hold on to where he would have some form of purpose or be able to do at least something with his life. And that is why he always held on to Shogi. It wasn't because he had the inspiration to reach the top, being #1. He was never like that. That's not how he ever viewed Shogi in the first place. And over time, we've seen that he's changed that perspective, but he's opened up, and he's been able to, find a family that cares about him, and also he's able to find individuals that he could call friends. In this case, Hina, Akari, and all that, they're, the perfect representation of a family that he wished he had, and he's now starting to have. And when he's like, I am here too, it's showcasing that he's letting go of this loner personality, something that made it to where he's always been distant from others, never wanted to talk with others, someone that always wanted to stay in the corner and never tell anyone anything. He finally took charge and was like, hey, I'm here too, I'm willing to help out and all that, which is just a beautiful scene because it shows that he is now more open. He's expressing himself. He is not bottling up everything inside and not saying anything. He is now telling it like it is, which is what happened in that scene. So just good stuff with Rei's character, showing how much he changed, but also how he's saying, look, you guys have helped me out so much. Akari, I can help you out. I can help out your family because you've helped me so much. I am here for you. So that was just a beautiful scene just to see how much he has changed. So moving in though, let's talk about the next scene, the Shogi match. So the Shogi match of this episode, even though, like I've said many times already in my reviews for this series, even though I don't completely comprehend Shogi, I feel like if I was able to understand Shogi, I would be able to appreciate these episodes, or at the very least the Shogi matches a little bit more. But even though I don't understand Shogi, I don't comprehend everything about it. Even then, though, this episode was glorious. Probably the best scene since March Comes In Like a Lion first started, because just seeing how Rei, how he was acting towards this dude he was going up against, and how he has changed his perspective, and how he's trying to play Shogi now, it shows that he's finally taking steps to improve himself. Let's look at it, okay? So, since the very beginning, and as I already briefly said in this video, Rei was always someone that didn't never play Shogi to actually reach the top. He never played it really to become #1. He only played it because it was the only thing that reminded him of his father, but also it was the only thing that he could hold on to that gave him any sense of purpose, or anything that didn't make him feel like he had nothing at all. And so in this case, that's what Shogi always was for him. But with the recent events with Hina, what she's been going through, and how he is desperate to help her, in turn, it's made it to where his passion for Shogi has increased. He is now wanting to win, not for the sake of himself, but for the sake of others. He wants to do it for another person, which is Hina. He wants to be able to help out their family, repay the debt that he owes them, and most likely the family would never really ask for anything from Rei, but he feels like he should help them out because of how much they've helped him out. They have dragged him out of the darkness, and now he's back in the light, and so he wants to drag one of them that's in the darkness right now back into the light once again, and that is why he's so desperate to win. And when you see him like, I need to win, I need to win, I need to win, and he's thinking about this, and he's actually considering his upcoming opponent, thinking about how he can face this opponent, how he can defeat him, and you see how he's putting a lot of effort into trying to overcome his opponent. That right there just shows how much he has changed, because back in the past, Rei didn't really care. He didn't care that much about his opponent. He didn't really think about the opponent's feelings or anything. He just carried on and did what he felt was he wanted to do at that moment. And so seeing how he actually was thinking about his opponent and then actually acknowledging his opponent is like annoying, 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 very loud, annoying, like, how can he do this when he's just annoying everyone around him? I'm like, yo, like, this is really, really interesting just to see how, Rei has changed and how he looks at it. And eventually, as he's taken this man down, he's like, this man is probably the type of person that thinks the world revolves around him. And I'm like, oh my. Like, just the way he said that, it was just an interesting line, because Rei, in a certain sense, he kind of is very similar to that, which is why the characters in this episode is like, you're very similar, like, you both are very similar, you also think the world revolves around you, and he's not necessarily wrong. The people that are telling Rei that are not necessarily wrong, because Rei, in a certain way, he does think that. And so that shows, once again, that he is now starting to change. And also when he realizes that people are talking to him, he's able to kind of realize, like, how am I similar to this man? Just cool. Just really, really cool. Great match overall. And the sound effects and all that, to the, like, tongue clicking, to the tapping and all that, just everything about it made the scene just so much better. So, yeah, that's about it when it comes to this week's episode of March Comes In Like a Lion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please leave a like. Love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.